Hello and welcome back to Get Up and Game. My name is Josh and it's Thursday, and it's been a while since Fantasy Flight has announced a new hero, so super hoping that they're going to announce one today. Now I'm just really excited that it happened to work out that I'm home on a Thursday morning with nothing to do, so I'm able to record. If they do announce something, I'm going to be right here refreshing over and over to see if I can catch it the second it's announced, because oh my gosh, there it is. There it is. There it is. It's Gambit. It's Gambit. Thief Extraordinaire. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Literally just popped up. Just refreshed the page. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so glad I'm home right now. Here we go. Let's look at these cards for the absolute first possible time. Closing my phone. Don't want to see what anybody else is saying. Let's do this. Gambit. Raised in the seedy underworld of New Orleans as part of the Thieves Guild, Remy LeBeau left behind a life of crime to join the X-Men. Now he uses his mutant power to charge items. Oh my gosh, I can't read. With explosive energy while fighting evil as the hero Gambit. Oh, before I look at any more, I'm so curious. How are they going to do his card explodey power? Are we going to be throwing cards at the villain? I've heard people say that, and that's hilarious. I really want to see what it's going to be. Proud to announce Gambit, the Cajun card thrower, charms his way into the game with his expansion pack, which introduces Gambit as a new playable hero along with his 15 signature cards. With a pre-built Justice deck ready to play from the get-go, you'll be able to ruin the villain schemes with Gambit's tricks and wit from the moment you open the box. With his ability to thwart an alter ego and his powerful charge attack. What? He's the first hero that can thwart an alter ego? That's super interesting. Well, that makes sense, right? He's a thief in his spare time, I guess. So that makes sense that he could be, he would thwart not. Wow, that's really cool. I never even considered that. All right, Gambit is a great all-rounder who can slot into any team. This hero pack also includes a bonus modular encounter set featuring Exodus, the Herald of Magneto. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Okay, I'm not going to look at the card fan because I'm just going to bring out all the cards here in a minute. So let's just look at the main cards here. As both a Master Thief and a Mutant, it should come as no surprise that Remy is skilled both on and off the battlefield. So let's look at his alter ego. He's got a 3 recovery. He's a mutant and a thief. His ability, it's his 6 hand size, 9 hit points. So that's all normal stuff. Thief Extraordinaire, action, thwart. That's so weird. Exhaust Remy LeBeau and look at the top 2 cards of the encounter deck. Discard one of those cards. Remove threat from a scheme equal to the number of boost icons on that card. Okay, so it's a little unreliable. You definitely don't know what you're going to get, but at least you get to look at the top 2. And there are a few ways to manipulate the encounter deck. Yeah, okay, so very cool. So I like this idea a lot just because I'm a player who really likes to go to alter ego, and I like to hang out in alter ego. So you might actually be able to just stay put and keep removing the threat. That's so cool. All right, get out of here. What's his hero power? So he's a 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 defense. Interesting, he's supposed to be so good at thwarting, but he only has a 1 thwart stat. Okay, and 3 defense. Wow, this is so not what I was expecting at all for Gambit. Charge a card is his power. Action, place 1 charge counter here. So you're putting a charge counter right on his hero card. Throw a card. Okay, that stuff's just going to be fun to say. I'm going to charge a card and I'm going to throw a card. Interrupt. When you play an attack event, remove up to 3 charge counters from here. That event deals +1 damage for each counter removed. Okay, that makes slightly more sense than us just chucking the cards from our hand at the table. He simply charges up the cards with his charge counter, so you can put 1 on per turn, and then you could use up to 3 of them on any given attack event. Okay, it makes sense. It's not necessarily super exciting, though it does play well with things that where you want to do excess damage, like thinking an aggression, like with a no quarter. It's good to do more damage with that. Anything like that, moment of triumph to heal, end of the fray to remove threat. So those types of effects are really cool. And plus, it's just nice, if your event is 1 damage shy of killing a minion, it's really nice to be able to bump that up a little bit. And you don't have to exhaust them to place the counters or anything like that. So you're just going to add 1 every turn. Very cool. Very cool. I didn't mean to say it wasn't exciting. It was just, I meant to, it's a little more straightforward than I was expecting. But when you think about the implications of how useful it's going to be, certainly useful powers are probably better in the long run than crazy weird ones. All right, so let's see what else he can do. With his Thief Extraordinaire ability, Remy can both thwart a scheme and scout the next card. Oh, wait, it doesn't discard? Oh, you just discard 1 of the cards and leave the other one on top. Oh, cool. I kind of skimmed over that. So that is nice. So there will be ways to take advantage of knowing what the top card is as well for some cases. Remy can both thwart a scheme and scout the next card in the encounter deck. This thwarting and alter ego goes just beyond his identity card. Okay, I'm going to stop reading the article here because you don't want to just sit here and watch me read it. Let's go into the cards. So we've seen, so the first one was his alter ego. Second one, the Thieves Guild, a 1-cost support, alter ego response. After you resolve your Thief Extraordinary ability, which again is you get to, sorry, I'm going to jump out. Do you have to exhaust? You probably don't, right? Oh, you do have to exhaust him. Look at the top 2 cards. Okay, so after you do that, exhaust the Thieves Guild, remove 1 threat from a scheme. If this removes the last threat from that scheme, draw a card. Okay, so it's passive threat removal in alter ego, and if it does clear a scheme, you get to draw a card. Very cool, very cool. I'm loving this. Is right up my alley. I love this alter ego kind of stuff. I'm very excited. This was not the direction I was expecting Gambit to be going in at all. Okay, so what else do we have? Creole Charmer, a 2-cost event. This is his thwart event. Alter ego action. It's starting to look like he can only thwart in alter ego. I hope he has a card, before we go any further, I really hope he has a card that lets him flip back and forth easily, just to be able to take advantage a little bit more frequently than you might be able to normally. Remove 3 threat from a scheme. If this removes the last threat from that scheme, confuse the villain. Confuse in alter ego. Oh, just like Black Widow's card that does that. I don't play a lot of Black Widow, so I can't remember what it's called, but okay, very cool. So excited, so excited. Remove 3 threat from a scheme, so you get to remove 3, and that, you know, if you're already in alter ego, you also are already removing threat with your other ability, so it's probably pretty easy to get a scheme down to 3 where you could clear it. And this, of course, you could trigger all those other abilities. But I'd have to look and see if things like followed, chance encounter, that kind of stuff is a hero response. You know, typically you're using those in hero form, so I don't ever have to wonder if they're hero form or not. But maybe you can trigger some of that stuff too. But maybe not. Maybe that stuff's all hero response. I'm not sure. What else? What else? Okay, so there's the hero form where you can add charge counters and deal extra damage. Charged card, 2-cost event. I bet he's got a few of these in his deck. Probably 3 of them, if I had to guess. Hero action, attack, deal 4 damage to an enemy. It's attack and superpower, so you could help pay for it with other stuff. For this attack, if Gambit's throw a card ability removed, oh, here we go. At least 1 counter, it gains ranged. 2 counters gains piercing, and 3 counters it gains overkill. So if you save up 3 counters, and I'm also wondering if we're going to see cards that will add more counters to his hero. So you're adding, if you do 3 counters, you're adding 3 damage to the event and giving it overkill. So those work very nicely together. 2 counters and piercing, so 2 extra damage, ignoring the tough. 1 counter ranged. Range has always been so like underdeveloped in this game, I think, or it's just that retaliate and ranged aren't always that exciting. Not that it's not useful if you're playing it against an enemy that has retaliate either built in like Zola or an annoying attachment. You know, if you have access to range, you don't have to waste the resources getting rid of the attachment. So that could definitely still be useful, and it's just cool that you're charging any card that you play that's an attack event. You're charging with the counter, perfectly thematic. Again, every time they make one of these, it's like the powers seem so obvious. Like, of course, this is what Gambit does, and yet in all the speculation, I don't know if I saw anything that's this simple and straightforward that just makes such perfect sense. What else? Royal Flush, attack, superpower, 3-cost event. A little pricey. Attack, place 1 charge counter on Gambit. So you do get a counter. Deal 0 damage to an enemy. Deal 0 damage to an enemy. Deal 0 damage to an enemy. Oh, this is probably going to cause some questions. So basically, however many charge counters you spend is how much each one of these is going to do, because we've seen things like Embiggen in that new warrior skill that adds damage to events. It adds damage to each instance of that event. Now, since this is just 1 attack, this isn't 3 separate attacks, this is 1 attack. So every charge counter that you spend is going to add to each of those instances of damage. So you're getting 1 charge counter for sure from this card, but if you spent, say, 3 of them, you would get to deal 3 damage, then 3 damage, 3 damage. They are all to the same enemy, so this could do up to 9 damage for 3, making this better than a swinging web kick. But the fact that you can also split it up, and if you do spend, wait, no, that was charge. I was going to say if you spend 3, you get overkill, but that was for the charged card, so never mind about that. But, man, this is cool. This is cool. So we haven't seen much in the way of, like, upgrades and stuff, other than that 1 support. I wonder if we'll see. Okay, here's another event. Here's his defense event, 0 cost. So I always love seeing 0 cost defense events. Hero interrupt defense. When you defend against an attack, place 1 charge counter on Gambit. So more free charge counters. I was really hoping for that. For each charge counter on Gambit, you get +1 defense for that attack. Okay, very cool. So you are gonna. So by playing this, it has the defense designator. So you are considered defending, but it doesn't do anything for you unless you actually exhaust to defend, because this is boosting your defense. So you're going to have to exhaust to defend, but your defense is 3. So that's probably the stat you're going to be leaning to mostly anyway. Your cards already do great damage. So clearly he's probably going to be exhausting to defend. And then this will help just boost it even more for 0. It's kind of like expert defense. You know, for 0, you get +3 defense. So and that's the best that you're going to get out of this. But the nice thing is you could just play it for the charge counter. And then if you do exhaust, you know, you get bonus defense, which is going to help with hard to ignore and unflappable and all the stuff that gets boosted by perfect defense. All right. And let's see, we've got quite a few more cards to see here. 1 cost upgrade. Here we go. Gambit's Guild Armor. It's an armor and an item. Hero response. After Gambit defends against an attack and takes no damage. Okay, well, there we go. Some perfect defense stuff. Exhaust this to ready him. Okay, very straightforward. So you'll be able to ready after you defend and take no damage, which is likely because you have 3 defense, and that other card is going to boost your defense as well. I like it. He seems a lot more straightforward. Other than the card where you're adding the 3 different damages, I think that might be a little confusing at times for people, but most of his stuff seems pretty straightforward, which a lot of this X-Men stuff, it turns out, has been pretty confusing. Kitty is quite the brain melter to play her, and everybody has a lot more nuance than I think we thought when the X-Men were coming. We sort of assumed they would be new player friendly because they're going to be attracting maybe a new audience, and that hasn't been the case. I think they're quite complex, actually. And Gambit does seem, on the surface at least, so far, a little bit more straightforward, which is good because he's super popular. Like everybody's going to buy Gambit. So I'm glad that he seems very straightforward and accessible. We have a molecular acceleration. Oh, I love fancy resource cards and heroes. When you spend this card, place a charge counter on Gambit, and it's a double. Lightning and punch. Oh, that's fantastic. So punch to trigger any cards that require punch. A lot of the attacks require punch, plus there's a lot of requirements these days that have either punch or lightning. Lightning's really good for defense cards. So, and you get a free charge counter. That's awesome. Just kind of like Ironheart with her. You know, you play a card and you also get the counter. This is really nice. Love seeing double resource cards within a hero. And probably maybe the last Gambit card here. Rogue. Board cost. Signature ally. 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 health. Okay, so far so okay. She's aerial with X-Men. Reduce the cost to player by 1 for each charge counter on your identity, and she has toughness. So she could potentially cost 1. Now, I think it's going to be hard to maintain having 3 charge counters because you're going to want to spend them. But if you do manage to maintain 3 charge counters, she's only going to cost 1 with toughness. And then team building exercise, a player for free. Cool. 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 health. Just a really straightforward but solid. I mean, even for 4, she's okay, right? Like she's 4 for toughness. That's still pretty good. And then so for each discount that comes down with the charge counter, she just gets better and better. And you want Rogue to be good, and we know Rogue's coming next, especially now with Gambit. Though I'm pretty sure we already knew. There's been a little bit of a smaller leak this time around that we were pretty sure Gambit was next, but we want Rogue to be good. And so now we're going to look at some new Justice cards. Justice has not had anything too exciting for a little while. So here's hoping there's some really good Justice cards here. 2 cost upgrade operative skill. Oh, so this is the new one. You thwart, remove 1 operative counter from here, removes 1 additional threat. Okay, it's similar to the other ones, warrior skill and the leadership one that adds to an ally's attack and thwart. It's fine, and it's certainly helpful. And like if you can bump a clear the area +1 to clear a scheme so that you can draw an extra card, or like Remy's that's gonna clear it and give him a counter. You know, that's it's not flashy, it's not exciting, but it is helpful, and so that's certainly good. And I guess we should have assumed that was going to be in here, and there's going to be a defense one in the next pack, I'm sure. Here we go. Breaking and entering, 2 cost thwart event. Play only if identity has the spy or thief trait. Oh, that's fun. Playing into those themes. Do we have any more thieves? I don't know. I know we have at least one spy, not a couple. Because Black Widow's definitely a spy. I'm not sure if anybody else is. Action thwart, remove 3 threat from a scheme. But it is not a hero action. So you could play this. Oh, this is gonna be awesome for Black Widow and any other spies and thieves in the game. Obviously, Gambit being able to thwart an alter ego. This is right up my alley. This is very exciting to me. Very exciting. Stealthstrike. Okay, Stealthstrike. I was so excited, but no, we have Stealthstrike. Deal damage to an enemy defeated by this attack. Remove 2 threat from a scheme. But I don't mind. The reprints are fine. It's fun to get the new artwork. Plus, I think this is an underrated card that I don't know if this sees a lot of play, and hopefully this will bring a little bit more attention back to it. This is a good card. It's kind of pricey for 4 damage, but being able to take out a minion with it and then also removing 2 threat from a scheme, that's pretty good for 3. It's definitely worth it. It's just, it costs you a little bit out of your hand the turn you play it. Here we go. Mutant Education, 0 cost event. A lot of the newer mutants people might not be too familiar with, like Pixie and Rock Slide. And gosh, I don't even remember this guy's name. It's been a little while. Play only if your identity has the mutant trait. Alter ego action, choose up to 2 identity specific cards in your discard pile and shuffle them into your deck. If X Mansion is in play, draw a card. Wow, actually referencing other cards in the card pool, that's pretty rare. Monica Chang goes and gets a surveillance team specifically, but there aren't many cards that actually combo specifically with other cards in the card pool. That is very cool. So for 0, you get to shuffle 2 cards back in your deck. That's huge. That's huge. Any kind of discard pile recursion, you always have to be very careful with that because it can get really janky and really broken really fast because your hero cards are your most powerful cards, and being able to shuffle 2 of them back, this is basic. This is going in probably just about every X-Men deck. Now you have to be an alter ego to play it, but so you're getting to shuffle 2 cards in and draw a card. That's super good. That's going to see a lot of play. Definitely, just think, Cyclops wants to be an alter ego anyway. Being able to get your specific cards back, this is huge. All of them. I was just going to start naming them, but they're all going to want this. Colossus wants to go to alter ego. Kitty has Confused, so she can go to alter ego pretty easily. Just getting your cards back. Clearly, I'm very excited about Mutant Education. Beauty and the Thief. Okay, here's our team up, Gambit and Rogue. 2 costs. It's kind of expensive for a team up. Hero action, attack and thwart. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. Remove 4 threat from a scheme. Wow, dang. Well, that's worth it for 2. I don't personally play a lot of the team up cards because I mostly play solo. And even with the signature ally in the deck, I don't often include them. But certainly in multiplayer, that's going to be huge. Hugely useful. And then I'm guessing the rest of it will be the modular. Yep, here we go. Exodus, a very cool villain. 1 scheme, 1 attack, 6 health, retaliate, and villainous. When revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the psionic shield attachment and attach it to Exodus. Well, I'm sure that's not gonna be good for anybody. Psionic shield, +1/+1, so he's 2/2 with villainous. And it'll go on any minion, but obviously when Exodus comes out, it comes straight onto him. And when attached minion would leave play, instead heal all damage from that minion and put it back into play, then discard this attachment. Ugh. So he's going to be a 2/2 with villainous and retaliate, 6 health. You're going to have to take him out once, chewing through all that retaliate, and then take him out again. He's nasty. That's a beefy, scary minion. And here we go. He's got a side scheme. Herald of Avalon. When defeated, the player defeated the scheme, searches the encounter deck, and discard pile for Exodus and reveals them. Jeez. And it's a hazard, so you're going to want to get rid of it, but it's going to get you Exodus, who's a huge pain to deal with. And he is elite. Okay, I figured he was, but I wanted to check. Can't mind control him. Yikes. Well, let's quickly check the article just to make sure we didn't miss anything. Okay, it looks like they actually explain how the Royal Flush works. Seems weak at first until you realize that Throaty card powers up all instances of damage when used. If you remove 3 counters, it's 9 damage you can spread across. Okay, so they explained it very clearly, so hopefully it's pretty straightforward. Just those kinds of interactions can be a little tricky for sure, and especially because there's different kinds. Like Wolverine's has the two different attacks, and it wouldn't work the same way on that. So that's where it can be a little confusing. So yeah, I think that is going to be it. I don't think we missed anything. Does it say when? February. Okay. So we're getting a lot of stuff next month in November with Wolverine, Storm, and Mojo. And then it's going to be a few months. And then we will get Gambit and presumably Rogue in February. Well, color me impressed. Continue to be incredibly excited for these heroes. Just a really straightforward, useful ability. Anytime you have a hero that's got 3 in a stat, I always find that very exciting to be able to play off of that. You know, he wants to defend, but he also wants to be an alter ego. He doesn't have any cards. I really thought he might have a card that let him flip down and then like flip back up easily enough. You know, something like a double life or a split personality. He didn't have that we've seen. Now, I don't know if we saw all the cards. Somebody will figure that out, but I'm really hoping he has a card just because you really want to be an alter ego to thwart. But when you're in hero form, you're going to be able to defend well and do a ton of damage. So should play very well in solo. Well, that's Gambit. Very excited. Can't wait. February is my birthday month. So Gambit and Rogue, definitely big fans of the characters. So that will be nice for that. Want to thank you for joining me. I hope this was fun to see this. I mean, it doesn't get any more first impression than that. They literally just posted the article. I'm sure there's lots more cool things to think of if I'd spent 5 minutes actually thinking about the cards. But sometimes it's fun to just look at this stuff and be excited and react. And I hope you guys who are watching this are excited about Gambit. And it's fun to share these experiences with you. So I want to thank you for joining me. Hope to see you next time we get up in game. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.